I'm Shiva Ashkenazi, and if you don't know me, I talk about all things Judaism and Israel and just everything in that realm, and today we're talking about the common talking points of anti-Israelis and why they're stupid. Now, I'll be honest, there are likely three types of people watching me. The ones who agree with me and are watching me either for enjoyment, education, or just fact-checking. To those people, I say hello and welcome. The people who will die before admitting they're wrong, aka the pro-Palestinians, I acknowledge I'm screaming into the void here, but hey, thanks for the engagement. And finally, those who are genuinely curious and want to learn. This video is made for you. Now, without further ado, let's get into the top 5 anti-Israeli talking points and why they're stupid. Point number 1, Israel's an apartheid. Israel's Arab citizens, who make up about 20% of the population, have full citizenship rights, which includes the right to vote, run for office, and participate in political processes. Arabs in Israel are represented in the Knesset, which is the Israeli parliament, and have access to courts and legal protections, and enjoy the freedom of speech, religion, and assembly. One Arab judge even prosecuted a Jewish prime minister for bribery, which would never happen in an apartheid state. Also, I know there will be some pro-Palestinian wackos out there screaming at the screen that the people in Gaza don't have the same rights as people who live in Israel. And to that I say, because they live in Gaza. Gaza is not the same state as Israel. Therefore, they won't have the same rights and they don't have the same citizenship, because they're from two different countries. It's like saying a Canadian doesn't have the same rights as an American, and that's bad. That's why people from Gaza go through checkpoints. If they were an Israeli citizen, they wouldn't have to go through these checkpoints. Point number 2, Israel's committing a genocide. Look, if Israel was committing a genocide, why would the population in Gaza rise 600% since Israel captured it in 1967? Why would Israel evacuate the Gaza Strip in 2005 if they were committing a genocide? It seems like a pretty bad strategy if you want to kill everyone in that state to leave the state. And finally, why would Israel warn the Palestinians before bombings? Why would they have such coordinated direct attacks like the Beeper attack in Lebanon if they wanted to kill everyone? I will tell you why. Because they don't. Point number 3, Israelis. But let's be honest, the Jews are colonizers. The third part of this unholy trinity. I will make a video on Jewish history at some point, so I'll keep this brief. The Jews were there first. The name Jew comes from Judea, which, surprise surprise, is where modern-day Israel is, and it was a fully recognized kingdom in 930 BCE. The name Israel came from the 12 tribes of Israel, which is Jacob, and the name Jew, or Judea, predates this as well, as it's one of those 12 tribes of Israel. The name Palestine only came from the name Palestina, which was the Romans' way of mocking the Jews in 135 CE. That's afterwards for the non-history nerds. For some reason, y'all look at the history after World War II to justify your stance, despite the overwhelming mountain of evidence that contradicts you. Point number 4, Israel is fighting an unjust war. There are so many things wrong with this claim, so let's start from the beginning. Many claim that Israel is committing war crimes. Though, if I ask which ones, they'll say, I don't know, war crimes, or things that are perfectly legal within war. War is horrible, and by no means am I justifying it. However, there are going to be civilian casualties. The difference between Israel and Hamas, though, is that Israel is not intending for civilian harm, while Hamas is. Some war crimes, or crimes against humanity, that Hamas has committed recently, and to my knowledge, include the systematic and widespread sexual violence as a part of an attack on the civilian population on October 7th, torture to the people captured on October 7th and during October 7th, the killing of civilians and prisoners of war in cold blood. Throughout October 7th, before October 7th, and after October 7th, using children in armed conflict, literally throughout the entire history of Hamas. Tactics such as using civilian infrastructure for military purposes, including military operations from within hospitals, schools, or places of worship, making them targets for attack, which, as we can see with the hospital incident, the school incident, and several other instances, Hamas has been doing this for a while, and technically an attempted genocide on Israel and the Jews, though they're severely failing at this goal, and I don't know if it would be counted in this long roster of crimes. Hi, editing Shifra here. I don't know how I forgot, but taking hostages is yet another war crime that Hamas has committed. Israel, meanwhile, has been finding ways to prevent further deaths of Palestinian citizens, such as warning them before bombings through ringing phones and setting down leaflets, despite the fact that Israel has every right to be bombing these protected buildings such as hospitals and schools when they are used as military bases. Because, this may come to a shock to you, but when the school is not filled with children but filled with terrorists, it's no longer considered a school. War is messy and terrible. But to say that Israel is committing war crimes while excusing the lengthy list that Hamas has as freedom fighting is just outright ignorant. And finally, number 5, anti-Zionism is not anti-Semitic. Well, technically they aren't the same thing. It is very hard to come out as anti-Zionist and not be anti-Semitic. Zionism is the fundamental belief that Jews have an inherent right to live in their ancestral homeland. Full stop. There are no Arabs involved in that definition, no killing involved in that definition, no governmental control or ethnic cleansing or any of that. The definition is purely Jews have a right to live in Israel because they are indigenous to that land. Now, someone could say that they believe that no indigenous people have any right to live on any ancestral homeland. In which case, fine, you are against Zionism, but you're also not anti-Semitic because it's just about all indigenous people. However, you and I both know that's not what they mean. And if it is, one should really reflect on those values. But ultimately, saying Jews specifically have no right to live in their homeland? That's at least teetering on anti-Semitism. Now that's it for the video. I acknowledge I likely screamed into the void here, but as I said, as long as I helped one person, this video would have been worth it. And I would like to think that most people want to listen to their heads, want to look at the facts and make an actual logical assumption rather than just falling for some underdog act that Hamas has been playing. But yeah, that's all I got. I probably missed some. If I did, feel free to comment them down below. Maybe I'll make a part 2. But thanks for watching, and make sure to listen to both your head and your heart, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye!